Stop trying to be good. The goal is not to be good. God did not call us to be good. He called us to be disciples. So many of us are doing everything except what God called us to do, except what God asked us to do, because we are so obsessed and addicted to being seen and called good people, good Christian. You're such a good person. You can never offend her. You can never offend him. Always accommodating. But that is not the goal. Jesus Christ condemned it in the book of Matthew when the man came to him and said, "Good teacher." And Jesus said, "Why do you call me good?" Good is not the standard. He said, no one is good except God. You might be smiling to everybody and saying yes to everything, but God sees your heart. And he knows that you are hurting. He knows that what you are doing, your act of service, is not coming from a place of love. You're suppressing your emotions just to accommodate people, just to make people feel good. And that is hypocrisy. That is a lie. So being good is not the goal. Once you start feeling like trading your happiness, your soul, seeking validation from people, making people feel good at the expense of your relationship with God, you have to go back and check yourself, because that means you are falling into this trap of trying to be a good person, a good Christian. And that's not what God has called you for. I'm going to take us to the scripture in the book of Matthew 21:28-31, the NIV version. It said, there was a man who had 2 sons. He went to the first and said, "Son, go and work today in the vineyard." And the son replied, "I will not." But later he changed his mind and went. Then the father went to the other son and said the same thing. He answered, "I will, sir," but he did not go. Which of the 2 did what the father wanted? The first, they answered. So the one who said yes at first is representing a lot of us, because we want to be seen as good, because we want to appear good to people. We lie to ourselves and we lie to God. We say yes to everything. It doesn't matter how ridiculous the favor is, you will do it. Because you don't want to be seen as a bad person. You don't want them to think, "Oh, why? Oh, I thought you said you were a Christian." You don't want to hear that. You're trying to protect yourself. But remember, the Bible said that you will lose your soul. Of what use is it that you gain all those validation, that you gain all those acknowledgements, that you gain all those applause, and you lose your soul? We are not here to look good. I think in the book of Isaiah it said that no one is righteous. Like, our righteousness is like filthy rags. So if you realize that you always say yes, right? Like I said, it doesn't matter how ridiculous the thing you're being asked to do is. You will do it just to protect that image. You will do it just to protect yourself, just to protect the way people see you. Then you are trying to be good. And like I said, Jesus did not call you to be good. He called you to be a disciple. You don't have to keep dying in silence so that people will see you as a good person. Some time ago, someone that I really looked up to offended me, and I suppressed it because I didn't want them to see me as mean or rude. I refused to confront her about it, and I just kept it to myself, hoping that things would just get better. But to my surprise, this person continued doing the same thing over and over and over again. And one particular day, I snapped. And I felt very frustrated. That name that I was trying to protect, what was in my heart got exposed. And not in a pleasant way. That if I was honest with myself, approached her and tell her how I felt, I don't think it would have gotten to that point. But God wanted to use that to teach me a lesson. and I learned. It was painful, but I learned. So you have to understand that people will keep on taking and taking and taking and taking and taking till they suck you dry. And that's not why you're here. You are here for a God-given purpose. And I'm very sure that being a good person, being good to the point where your smile is fake, where your happiness is fake, is not part of it. So you can look good outwardly. You can look like the good Christian. Everybody might call you good and sweet and kind and nice, but you are disconnected from God because your heart is filled with offense and pain and hurt, shame. That's why you keep quiet. That's why you stay silent when you're offended, because you're ashamed of resolving the conflict or resolving the issue, because you are scared of losing this image you have made up for yourself. The other guy who said no at the beginning is the one that we should all look up to, because this is someone that was not ashamed to be himself. This is someone that was not ashamed to be honest. Maybe he was angry at the time. Maybe he had something going on. Maybe he was frustrated. But like I said, God sees the heart, right? And he said no at the beginning. But his heart was pure. His heart was connected to God. And even when to people he looked mean, he looked rude, it looked like he was not a child of God, it looked like he was doing too much, to God he was in alignment. Because later, he did exactly what he was asked to do. Don't think that God is impressed by those your fakeness. No, he's not. He sees your heart. And if you're watching this video, I think it's high time you told yourself the truth. You can lie to yourself, but you can't lie to God. So saying no does not mean you're rude. It doesn't mean that you're not a Christian. It doesn't mean that you are not a follower of Christ. It just means that you are honest. It just means that you are sincere. I'm not saying that you should be rude to people or inconsiderate. No, that is not what I'm saying. All I'm saying is know where to draw the line. If it starts affecting you in a negative way, it does not please God. If it starts affecting your relationship with God, it does not please God. If it starts affecting your soul, it does not please God. You are just lying to yourself, and God sees it. Know where to draw the line. I had a conversation with this lady one day, and she was telling me how she felt so used. Like it's like everybody is just coming to take something. Like she felt like she has been sucked dry. She can't be happy. She's just miserable. And I could relate to that. So in between our conversation, I figured out that she only had one problem. And it's just to say no. But this thing that seems so simple is the reason why so many of us are in abusive relationships and marriages and toxic friend groups, because we don't want to be seen as bad. But we are not here to be seen as good. We are here to follow Christ in spirit and in truth, so that a time will come when those that worship me will worship me in spirit and in truth. My saying no to you doesn't mean I hate you or I don't want to help you. But if it's going to be at the expense of my soul, I am sorry, no. And that is okay. That should be good. And if anyone finds it offensive, it's not my problem. It's not a you problem. But when you accept do everything, say yes to everything, then you can't really blame people from taking things from you. You can't really blame people for always taking and taking and taking, because you're always available. Everything goes. So it's just, they just walk over you and do whatever. And then use you are a good person to rub lipstick and eyeshadow on you, and you keep quiet. You're dying in silence. and you're smiling in front of people, you're not being humble. You are being a hypocrite. And the saddest thing is that the same God you are trying to appease is not even pleased with you living this way. The Bible said to guard your heart with all diligence, because in it is the matters of life. You have to protect this heart, because he said out of the abundance of this heart will your mouth speak. So when you're lying, when you're hurting and putting up a smile, one day the truth will come to light and it's not going to be funny. It can cost you the very thing that you're protecting. So I hope that this speaks to you today. And I hope that you start today. Start being honest with yourself. Start creating those boundaries. Say no when you need to say no. And say yes when you're sure. Don't say yes and you're bitter. Don't say yes and you're offended. Don't stay silent and die. Make sure that you're being honest, because you are here for God's purpose, not for men. I hope that this blessed you. Please don't forget to leave a like and share and comment your thoughts in the comment section. God bless you.